Congrats to the newlyweds. Remember when motherfuckers used to throw rice at weddings? Congrats to the newlyweds. I think they throw birdseed now. What up, YouTube? I am Dom Knight. This is Night Talks, and we are back with another burning question for you. Before we get in the video, y'all know what we gotta do. Make sure you like the video, subscribe for more content, alright? All the social medias right there for you. And trying to get 100 subs by July. So go with some size, my eyes on the prize to help me out. We're gonna get right into this one, alright? Because this might be a little long one, but bear with me. It's gonna be some good information in here, and I think it's worth sticking around to the end, alright? So, question of the day. Should you get married in 2021? Alright? Marriage. Yes, sir. Marriage is a big, big thing in our society, in the world, really. So, I think this is something that's become a forefront of relationships today, because back in the day, you know, it was intended that most people were going to get married if you entered a relationship with someone. This day and age, it's a little bit different, and people are kind of swaying away from that. So let's talk about this, all right? So we got a little bit of education we're gonna have to get into. We're gonna have to break this stuff down. We're gonna have to pull out some statistics, some facts. We're gonna really have to get into this to answer this question, all right? So let's jump right into this, all right? Here's the education for you. All right, first, let's define what is marriage. So I pulled together a couple different definitions that I got off the internet and made it into one that I think was very inclusive. So let's do this. Marriage, a legally and socially sanctioned union, usually between a man and a woman, that is regulated by laws, rules, customs, beliefs, and attitudes that prescribe the rights and duties of the partners and accord status to their offspring, if any. The universality of marriage within different societies and cultures is attributed to many basic social and personal functions for which it provides structures such as sexual gratification, regulation, division of labor between the sexes, economic production and consumption, and satisfaction of personal needs for affection, status, and companionship. Right? Perhaps its strongest function concerns procreation, the care of children and their education and socialization, regulation of lines of descent. Through the ages, marriage has taken a great number of forms, right? Now, marriage has a ton of customs and traditions that are based on religion and a ton of other things. I'm not gonna get into all that today. I'm not gonna get into those details. That's just far too much. We're gonna stick to the more westernized version of it, okay? All right. Marriages can be terminated by annulment, divorce, or death of a spouse. Divorce, known as dissolution of a marriage in some states, laws vary by state and address issues such as how the two spouses bifurcate the rear property, how children will be cared for, and support obligations of one spouse towards the other. Since the late 1960s, divorce has become more prevalent. All right, in 2005, it was estimated that 20% of marriages would end in divorce within 5 years. Divorce rates in 2005 were 4 times the divorce rates in 1955. And a quarter of children less than 16 years old are raised by a step-parent. Marriages that end in divorce last for a median of 8 years for both men and women. Interesting there, all right? Now pay attention, okay? Now, if you're smart, all right, you know a few things. Notice I said since the 1960s is when the divorce rate started to rise. What happened in the 1960s, guys? From the U.S. Census Board, 6.1 per 1,000 people in the U.S. are married currently. As of 2017, approximately 50% of adults in the U.S. were married. This is a 28% decrease from the all-time high of 72% in 1960. According to the CDC, in 2018, 6.5 people per 1,000 were married, with a total of 2,132,853 marriages. In 2000, 8.2 per 1,000 people were married, with a total of 2,315,000 marriages. All right. Now, what are the most common reasons for getting married? Love, 88%, commitment, 81%, companionship, 76%, desire for children, 49%. Need to have a relationship recognized by a religious community, 30%. Finances, 28%. And legal rights and benefits at 23.5%. Okay? So that tells you what marriage is, how many people are married, all that. Now we got to talk about the other side of it, which we brought up earlier, which is divorce. Okay? Divorce is a thing, and it's a real thing in marriage, so we got to get into that. Now, according to the US Census, rates of marriage and divorce have decreased over the past 20 years. Now, I got some interesting little facts for you guys on divorce. There is one divorce approximately every 36 seconds. That's nearly 2,400 divorces per day, 16,800 divorces per week, and 876,000 divorces a year. The divorce rate for a first marriage is around 41%. The divorce rate for a second marriage is around 60%, 73% for a third. Cumulatively, 1 in every 4 families will face a divorce. The average length for a divorce proceeding is 1 year. Now, that's definitely probably more Western. I don't know what it is in Europe and other countries. All right. First marriages that end in divorce usually last approximately 8 years, which we talked about. Approximately 6% of American couples marry, divorce, and then remarry each other. The divorce rate for couples over 65 years old has doubled since 1980. I found that very interesting myself. All right. Marriages are more likely to last longer when people marry at an older age, have higher education, and earn more money. Typically, you got more to lose. The top 5 reasons for divorce include communication problems, infidelity or betrayal, financial problems, psychological, emotional, and physical abuse, and loss of interest. Okay? If a spouse has gained more than 20% of his or her body weight, divorce is more likely. Talked about that. In 2/3 of all divorces, it's the woman who files. Additionally, while men are financially better off than women post-divorce, they typically suffer more emotionally. All right, so now we know what both of those things are. All right, we got to get into the pros and cons of this. All right, so I did a little research. I went online and I pulled out a list of pros and a list of cons that I thought were pretty good. Now, pros list is shorter than the cons list, all right? I got 11 pros and 17 cons. Let's get right into the pros, all right? Number 1, increased level of security. Number 2, socially accepted. Number 3, you can build wealth together. Number 4, you can support each other in difficult situations in life. Number 5, necessary in many cultures. Number 6, you may be better able to sustain your relationship. Number 7, tax advantage related to marriage in many countries. Number 8, family connections may help your career. Number 9, may contribute to a stable family. Number 10, important to be in line with religious concerns. And number 11, marriage may protect you from being lonely. Thought that was an interesting list, and I thought it was, if you're gonna take that step, some good reasons why you might wanna do it. But when we hear the cons, we gotta compare the two, right? So let's jump right into these cons. Now, there are 17 cons. So I'm gonna jump right into them. You limit your level of freedom, number 1. Number 2, no other partners allowed. Number 3, you may get trapped in an unhappy marriage. Number 4, dependence on your partner. Number 5, bad for one party in case of divorce. Number 6, divorce may lead to financial obligations. Number 7, attraction may suffer significantly over time. Number 8, divorce rates are quite high. Number 9, many people are quite naive regarding the concept of marriage. Number 10, divorce laws often favor women. Number 11, you introduce the state into your life. Number 12, you have to get along with your spouse's family. Number 13, individuality may suffer. Number 14, the effort is often not worth the price. Number 15, marriage is not a guarantee your partner stays with you. Number 16, weddings can be quite expensive. And number 17, feelings change over time. I found those lists very interesting, and I found them to be very accurate, okay? Just based on using your brain and your logic, whether you've been married or not. I think those lists is common sense, common knowledge to your average person. So now, let's look at some stuff, okay? Let's look at a couple little clips of some people who have been married talking about being married, whether they like it, whether they don't. All right, we're gonna get into that.
The first question of today was, why did I leave my husband after 14 years of marriage? The first thing I want to say is that 14 years is a long time to give someone your life. Did I want to leave my marriage? No. But after a certain point of time, you get immune to pain. Eventually, I stopped crying, and bitterness and resentment and all those things started to kick in. And I didn't want to live the rest of my life in misery.
Hey, so I want to talk about why I regretted getting married. Now, when I was married, obviously I couldn't talk about this because my wife would have been pretty upset if she heard me say these things. But now that we're separated, I guess I can say anything I want to. After getting married, the number one thing that I noticed that I lost was my freedom.
So today I really want to talk about marriage and why I love being married. I've definitely done a bunch of videos about why marriage is so important to me, why it's something I'm so glad I did, and why it's the best choice I ever made. But I really want to talk about that from a conservative perspective. Now, if you are someone who is not conservative but you love marriage, hooray, you're on the same side as me. That's great. And marriage is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Now, the reason that I talk about it from a conservative perspective is that conservatives really value marriage. We think it's something that actually is important, and it's important to the building of a society. So when you look at the statistics, for example, there's a very famous statistic by Haskins and Sawhill in their book, Creating an Opportunity Society, where they say that if you do three things, if you fulfill three norms, which is finish high school, get married before you have children, and work a full-time job, then 73.8% of people who do that are in the middle class.
All right, so you heard what they had to say. Now, what are my thoughts on marriage? Okay, I'm gonna break down what I think some benefits of marriage are first. I do agree with some of the lists on the cons. I think it does help the family life. If you are one of those people who want to have children, I think the marriage structure tends to put people's minds on the right track in regards to, you know what, we did this, let's make sure these kids are taken care of. Let's make sure we're handling our responsibilities in regards to our offspring. So I do think marriage can be very beneficial there. I also do think it is a nice concept to think you can build with someone. You guys can start off with nothing and work together and motivate each other and build a real life for yourself and build a real strong family structure and create a legacy that will go on over time. I do find those things to be very beneficial. Now, do you have to be married to do those things? No. You can raise kids in a regular relationship without the contract. You can build a legacy without that contract. But in society, and today, you know, and over time really, like, and even still today a little bit, in society, when you're married, people look at you differently. People look at you like you are someone that is worthy of something. People think that, you know, you're a stand-up person because you took this vow, you took this oath. And I myself, I think people who take the oath of marriage, I do commend them because it's something that I think is a really big step. And I think to make that commitment to someone really takes a lot of thought and a lot of sacrifice and a lot of dedication. And someone who can really put their mind to something like that, I respect, you know? I respect people who can do something like that. Now, on the flip side of that, what I think some of the cons of getting married are, first of all, we can just talk about how you're getting the state, you're getting the government involved in your life. Sure, you may get some tax breaks, but now you're under a contract, which costs a lot of money to get out. For men, obviously, if you're a wealthy man, or if you're a man of just above average means, you're gonna lose out in this deal if she isn't already earning a significant amount of money close to yours yourself. So you're gonna have to pay alimony most likely. You have to pay child support most likely if you have kids. And that stuff gets expensive. Your lifestyle is gonna change, okay? And it's gonna feel weird, right? When someone's taking something you earned. Now, in the case of someone like Jeff Bezos, when his wife left him, if you guys don't know the story about Jeff Bezos' wife was holding him down before Amazon took off. I think she earned a right to a piece of that pie. You may disagree with me, and that's totally fine, but I do think that she held him down long enough that he could get Amazon to where it is today. I don't think Amazon would be what it is without her. And I'm a big Amazon fan. So I think that she deserves some of that money she got. And Jeff Bezos is so rich, and he's gonna make so much more money. He's probably not thinking about that. So in that situation, that's one of those situations where there may be a, you know, something a little bit different. But in your average situation, if you came into a marriage with someone and you vetted this man because he had means, then I don't think you are entitled to those means. He may have built a life for you. He may have changed your lifestyle that you were accustomed to. But why should you get all these checks for that? You know, and he has to suffer and he has to sacrifice his life, all because he signed into a contract, into a relationship that didn't work. Now, if he cheated and he messed up and he did all that, then what can I say, bro? You earned that. But say it was just irreconcilable differences, or you guys just couldn't get along, whatever. And it was a civil marriage, and you got to pay all this money out. Dang, man, it kind of sucks for the guy. I'm not a rich man, but I do plan on hopefully being a man of means in my future. And I'll be damned if I earn that money myself and somebody's gonna come over here and tell me what I can and can't do with it. So outside of that, what I've seen personally in my own life with people that I know who have been married, close people, people from a distance, friends, whatever, marriage changes you as a person. A lot of people were one way in their relationship, which made them feel secure enough to want to get married. And then when the rings got put on and the contracts were signed, they became somebody else. And the partner didn't like who that person became. And guess what? Couple has been together for 5-6 years, divorced in a year. Couple's been together. I know a couple, they were together for 12 years before they got married. And they were divorced within 1 year. He changed on her. He changed. He became a different person. And she was like, had we not got married, we'd probably still be together. I don't see us not. I don't see why we wouldn't. And that's just crazy to me. It's something about the atmosphere of a marriage. In today's time, I'm not talking about back in the day. I'll get to that. But in today's time, there's something about the culture of marriage, the atmosphere of marriage. It just feels like a show. It just feels like people want that recognition for that time period. It feels like people don't really want the responsibilities that come with a marriage. And marriage is a huge responsibility. It's bigger responsibility than your job. It's a bigger responsibility than taking care of kids. It's a bigger responsibility than taking care of your pets. All of that. Marriage is a 24-hour job. You have to trust someone deeply. You have to believe that someone is always going to make the right decision that benefits you and your family. And that's tough to think about at times, right? You have to entrust in someone else. You trust yourself, right? You know you're gonna do what's right, or what you think is right. But you don't know if that other person's gonna do that. You don't know if they're gonna jump ship. You don't know how they're gonna react if you get sick. You don't know how you're gonna react if they get sick. You have to be a caretaker to that person, or they have to be a caretaker to you. You just don't know. There is a lot of what ifs. And I think that being in this contract, it makes things messy. We've all seen a divorce. Everyone has. It gets disgusting. It gets brutal. It gets ugly. You see a side of people that you never thought you would see. Someone you thought that you loved so much. Someone that you thought was the most important person in your life. You chose to procreate with. You chose to bind yourself to legally and emotionally. And they turn around and become a person that you've never seen before. Why would I want that? And one of the main things on the cons list, people change over time. people become different. You get different interests, different hobbies. You drift apart, and that's natural. Yet, if you drift apart, you feel so tied and legally obligated to this person because you're married. All because you signed contracts and put rings on. And if you guys weren't married, you could have a conversation and walk away. And no one leaves with all this extra emotional hurt that comes from the divorce proceedings in a marriage. You can just deal with the heartache and work on becoming the best version of yourself so you can move on in your life. So, with that said, I'm going to answer the question of the day. Should you get married in 2021? My answer is no. And I commend any person who wants to do it. I don't judge you. I don't care. I'm happy for you. I support anyone. Anyone in my life who chooses to get married, I support that. I'm happy for you. For me personally, it's not the move. It's not. I'm a different guy. I used to think I wanted this, and the older I get, the more I realize I don't. It's not that I don't think I'd be a good husband. It's just, I don't think I need to be binded by a contract. For what? Who am I trying to impress? If I love you and you love me, we know our love's strong. What's a marriage gonna do? It's not gonna make our love any stronger. It's not gonna make me like you anymore. It's not gonna make you like me anymore or love me anymore. All it's gonna do is legally bind us, and if we decide that we don't wanna be together, it's gonna make it harder for us to separate. That's how I look at it. And that is my own personal beliefs on it. And if you feel a certain way about marriage, I am totally fine with your beliefs. Drop them in the comments. Let me know how you feel. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me what I got wrong about marriage. Okay? Engage. This is a serious thing. And I know a lot of young men and women are thinking about this and they want this in their future. I want you to think hard about it before you do it. I want you to make sure it's the right decision for you long term. And if you go through everything and you realize this is what you want to do it. And I'm happy for you. I am Dom Knight. This is Night Talks. This has been one of the more serious burning questions that I think is a real topic, all right? Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, help me get my goal. Drop some comments below, put the socials right up there so you guys can go follow me, okay? And I will be back on Wednesday with the reaction. Peace.